are the top 3 food that's commonly used everywhere and you're probably eating it, not even thinking about it. I'm going to talk about the most common food that you want to avoid if you have eczema. So my kids have eczema and it's been about over a year that they have been pretty much eczema free because of our diet. And these are the 3 foods that I have taken away from their diet, and for good reasons. And it's those common food that actually can trigger the eczema to flare up or cause more problem. Number 1 is milk. Now you're probably thinking like, what the heck, milk? Why? Well, you know what? According to the stats, there is about at least 60, 65 to even 70% of the world's population that are lactose intolerant. So what it is that the lactose that is in the milk, the people who don't have the enzyme, the lactase, to break down the lactose, and that cause problems like bloating, indigestion, diarrhea, stomach pain. Not very fun, right? And not only that, it can cause absorption problems as well too. The problem with milk is that it's not only with lactose intolerance, they are also people who are actually allergic to the milk. The whey, the casein that's in the milk, and that is what's causing the problem. And when there is an allergic reaction to it, what happens is that the body will release histamine, and what it does is cause swelling, rash, itching, all sorts of immune response, and eczema could be one of them. Some people get increase of mucus productions or secretions, so it's worse for those who are, let's say, have seasonal allergies, and during those months they have runny nose or stuffy nose, and then they're having trouble with trying to clear their sinus and their throat. So the mucus that's being produced by drinking the milk doesn't help. Now, there's nothing that is harmful in terms of the mucus because there hasn't really been any studies on it. But if you do have it, then you might want to avoid it just so you want to clear your sinus up, right? And milk products is in a lot, or milk dairy product, it's in a lot of products. So some of the things that you might want to avoid, including butter, buttermilk, cream, ice cream, pastry, because a lot of times they have milk products in it, mayo, dressings. Actually, just check the labels of the ingredients. The ingredients on the label, there are so many products that has milk in it, and that is one of the things that can cause your eczema to flare up and make it worse. Let me tell you a story. There was this 13-year-old girl, she's Caucasian, came in with her mom, and she's been having diarrhea, abdomen pain. That's been going on for a while. And after some blood work, some ultrasound, the result came back normal. And they were asking me about, okay, so what is it that they can do in order to help with these signs and symptoms? So what I did was I asked them, what do you normally eat for breakfast, for lunch, for dinner, right? So she said for breakfast, normally she'll have a glass of milk or the milk with the cereal. For lunch, she'll have either a pizza, and for dinner, she'll have something with dairy or milk or cheese in it. And I would ask them, so what do you normally get after you eat these things, right? It's like, normally I get diarrhea. Well, I told them, like, you might want to stay away from dairy. It seems more like an lactose intolerance that she's having. So the mom was just like, well, what is she gonna eat, right? And I was like, not dairy. You could eat, like cereal without the milk. You can have it with oat milk or like some other form of milk, but not cow milk, not milk, right? And they just kind of looking so confused by it. Go to number 2. This is a big one. A lot of you might get angry at this, but it's the truth, okay? Sugar, added sugar specifically. The reason why I say added sugar is because a lot of times these added sugars are in products that are not very nutrient dense, that are in wheat, full of oil, that has flours, that has other sugar added onto it, and therefore making it even worse, right? They are very addictive, and over a long run or even over time, it can cause inflammation. And with the added sugar, a lot of times is that compared to natural sugar, there are so many times, so many more, like the concentrated amount of sugar that's in it is significantly more compared to if you, let's say, eat an apple. Have you ever known any diabetic where they have problem with the wound healing? One of the issues is that it's because there is low circulation, poor circulation, because the blood is thicker, right? And not only that, the sugar creates an acidic environment. Germs, bacteria, virus, they thrive on a sugary environment as well too. Not only an acidic environment, but on a sugary environment as well. So that's why one of the things that for those who are diabetic, they take years to even heal the wound, if anything, right? And they're on antibiotic, on all these dressing, and nothing helped. So if you think about it, if that applies to diabetic, what would happen to people who have eczema, right? And not only that, sugar, the fluctuation in sugar causes a lot of inflammation. So if you're not healing, not having proper circulation, your blood is thicker and you're not getting the circulation where the blood flow through your body and then get rid of the waste and giving you the nutrient that you need as well too, it's going to be compromised. Therefore, your eczema is not going to heal as well, right? And not only that, like I said, if you're a host, you're putting yourself at risk of being something that's going to cause infections and germs and all that stuff. That is also not going to help with the healing process as well too. The added sugar, of course, especially when you take a lot, that's going to cause you to have insulin resistant and metabolic dysfunction over time, and then that's going to cause problem, and then leaky gut, and then next thing you know, you'll be like, oh my gosh, nothing is working, because when you're taking such a high amount, or when you're taking added sugar, your pancreas is going to send out tons of insulin to come out and say, hey, this is too much sugar at once. I need to maintain homeostasis, meaning a balance. And then what happens is that when too much insulin comes out to help with the high blood sugar that from the sugary drink, sugary food that you have, next thing you know, you'll be like, oh, okay, I'm feeling tired, right? And then you want to grab for another sugary treat, so then it becomes a vicious cycle. So nutrient density, a problem; inflammation, a problem; poor wound healing, a problem; circulation, many problems. So well, what do, right? You want an alternative to that, right? Because then you're like, damn it, I can't have anything with added sugar, because added sugar is in literally everything, because they the food industry actually want to spike, like it's literally lacing you and getting you addicted to this, I wouldn't say drug, but anyways, semi-like drug that gets you addicted to it, and then you get this dopamine rush and get a high from it. So you can avoid sugary products, processed food, like it's literally in everything. I don't think I need to tell you, but cookies, donuts, cake, chocolate, ice cream, they're like literally in everything. So what you can do is, instead of having that, go for a fruit. Have a fruit instead. Yes, there is natural sugar in fruits, but the thing with fruits is that there is vitamin, minerals, there are antioxidants, there are fiber, there's water in it. So all this stuff that's actually good for your body, right? It's not just added sugar, or it's just not sugar in it, right? Not just glucose and fructose, right? There's more to it. Number 3, the third thing to avoid if you have eczema is wheat. So this might be a controversial for some people, but anyways, there's been study that kind of like suggested and other China not suggested, but a very small population of the world are celiac. The ones who are celiac, their gut microbiome, a lot of times is that their gut microbiome isn't as good, especially if they have, gluten or wheat products. So, but aside from that, one of the things is that that's actually really going to interfere with you more, is that a lot of wheat product is probably more concerning because of the glyphosate that's been sprayed on it. So pretty much glyphosate is a chemical that is used in herbicide or pesticide or the weed killers Roundup, and that is one of the things that is a problem, because even a small amount, study have suggested that even a small amount of glyphosate that is in the system can increase the risk of liver and kidney cancer. So, I mean, that's in rats, right? So what do you think happened to humans when we're the one who's like get contaminated? And not only that, glyphosate, it can't be washed out, it can't be cooked, it literally stays in your system. It can stay in your system for like over almost about a year like that, right? So that becomes a problem, and it can affect fertility, many other issues. And one other thing with the glyphosate is that it's used in a lot of wheat, barley, rye crops, a lot of GMO, like genetically modified organism food. And a lot of times comparing that to the wheat that is in United States to the ones that are in Europe. Europe has put, are more strict, and they have put certain restrictions in terms of the amount of glyphosate practice. So they have been adjusting more compared to, because of their concern about cancer, compared to North American or, in the United States. There's still a high level of glyphosate that goes on, and the practice that's used in farming. And so why is it glyphosate that's a problem? So it's a problem because it binds to manganese and also boron and iron and zinc, right? These are the important nutrients that your body actually needs. Zinc is found in a lot of it in also skin, right? It's like the very common place to find zinc. And zinc is needed to help with healthier skin and to help with boosting immune system up. So if you're low on zinc, you're not going to be able to have, like your eczema is not going to be able to heal and get better, right? So that is why it becomes a problem with wheat. You're probably going to think like, well, what am I gonna eat then? Like if I can't eat wheat, right? Well, you're gonna have to go for air, like nothing, right? Just kidding. Well, there are other alternatives, safer alternatives. I mean, you can go for steel cut oat. Even though there may be, some say that there may be contamination with the glyphosate in it, but in terms of oat, it's a lower amount, and also less likely that it could be contaminated with gluten, even though there are some risks of it. So it is there, but it's at least a better option. Another thing is brown rice, quinoa. You can do sweet potato. You can do squash. These are like the carbs, the good carbs. They're somewhat more decent as a replacement compared to the wheat. So, I mean, don't feel so bad. I mean, I don't miss my kids having eczema at all. So I don't really miss those products. And these are like the top 3 common things that people eat every day, right? And I used to do that. So those are the things that I avoid, and I take out the added sugar. I don't eat processed food anymore, or super low amount, hardly anything. We haven't had a bread or bought a loaf of bread for about over a year now, and we haven't had dairy product for also over a year as well too. So I don't miss my kids' eczema, and that is something that I really like. So if you find that this information is useful, hit a comment or click a like and subscribe to the channel, and make a comment on what you think you can give up, or whether you can or not any of these items. Like, what would be the one that you would have trouble giving up, and why, right? And anyways, I'll see you next time, and gonna give you some more tips on how to help you improve the eczema and also your health as well too.